might have said hair grenade.
Okay, we're recording.
All right, welcome to Ep.3, Revenge of the Bumped.
Is that what we're going with?
No. It'll be something different, I guess. Welcome back to the Get Bumped podcast here on William Crossland channel. I'm William Crossland as always, or Brandon, as we've discovered on this podcast. Welcome, fellas, back. And we tried to wake up Donald. It is very early, so I don't blame him.
It's understandable.
But, understandable. Have a great day.
Yeah,
I'm sure he has
Donald
some
the
great.
machine broke.
I'm sure the Don would have some great opinions for us that we're missing out on, but it's okay. So we've got plenty of news to talk about, and we wanted to talk about it earlier in the week, but we wanted to wait because things were developing through the week, such as the IndyCar Aero screen, and that happened yesterday at Indianapolis, and they're going to continue to test that at different places before the next season in 2020. But we're going to start with NASCAR news and Charlotte Roval. Hey, no way, me too. I always have that here. Okay, so the biggest comeback. Oh, is that why you're wearing your Napa, Miss Rossi? Or is that really for Rossi?
It's not because he came in second.
I have a little one.
Oh yeah, you're a little fan. Okay.
Yeah, the only thing about cars I have on my desk is my motor vehicle renewal notice.
I thought you were gonna be like, the only thing I have is Lightning McQueen. That's the only thing I have from cars.
No.
Anyway, Charlotte Roval is in its second year, so it's no longer a little baby. It's actually off the rails, a full-grown beast, and it is declared itself as, look, I am the hardest circuit on the calendar. Hear me roar. And
Turn one is hard.
Turn one is the heartburn turn. And the back chicane was changed from a little derpy, let's do this really quick so we can have the race this year, to an actual proper road course chicane that actually offers another passing zone instead of a quick little, fast little chicane. That I actually enjoyed last year's chicane, like driving it in iRacing, because just keeping that momentum going and like not allowing people to pass you. But I did get used to the one this year.
I felt like this one was more like it wasn't about passing. It was more about who's gonna blow it and then have to stop at the other end of the stretch.
It didn't stop Bubba Wallace from still having a hard weekend.
Yeah, poor Bubba.
We'll get more to Bubba Wallace later on. Chase Elliott coming back from that one race. He had the fastest car in the field. Hendrick Motorsports showed out, came out to play overall very well, as Alex Bowman did make it into round 12 of the playoffs after Charlotte. But that one restart, he's leading, and then he just locks the brakes up. And, they take that restart area where you're going about 109 miles an hour compared to about upper 90s, mid 90s through the actual last inner loop. And so it's just enough to... Yeah, the chat... Sorry, Brian. The chat actually appears on the screen.
Look it up.
So I'm going to have to ask you to not...
Okay. I wanted to make sure.
See, like last episode, Ryan said something that he thought was like just all of us, but it actually was not.
What was it? I forgot what he said.
You're like a little off topic, huh?
Oh.
So yeah, the chat cannot be used. We beta tested this, tried it, didn't work. Sorry about that. Anyway, but yeah,
I'm still probably gonna use it. Now I can just write whatever I want and show people. Not whatever I want, but like, yeah. Okay, continue.
The restart. Just lock the brakes up, threw it right into the Tums turn. And Tums, man, they got their money's worth because he came back and ended up winning. And
someone left with that sign.
They did?
Yeah, someone took the sign off the wall. wall,
That's
or
crazy.
wherever they took it off
Well,
from.
Chase took the sign off the wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, someone took it. They had coverage of him walking out of the track with it. I was like, that's gonna be on eBay. He's gonna get it signed. It's gonna be on eBay for like $200.
What if like Lionel got a hold of it and they sell it on their official site? Chase Elliott autographed.
Autograph Tom's Turnwall.
Elite.
His burnout was my favorite burnout
Yeah,
of the year.
that was the best. My bet.
I was laughing. I was
Favorite
genuinely
favorite
laughing.
ever.
I think that wins burnout of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could not like keep myself from laughing when I saw that because they just cut right to it, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute! That's exactly where he messed up."
Even
Like,
my
wait a minute, is
girlfriend
this
thought
a
that was
replay?
entertaining.
Yeah, and whenever he did it, he said over the radio, he's like, "I cannot believe I did that.
That was so.
I'm so
It
sorry,
was almost
guys."
funny. It was funny.
And it was crazy
was
how it
funny,
like with that wall, like that tire barrier did a really good job because he didn't take
Yeah.
any damage at all.
That was a good
Like,
tire barrier.
It was enough to like it didn't total his car or anything.
Did they add tires? Because last year it damaged Brad a bit, didn't it?
Well, last
Well,
year Brad hit the
Brad went
safer
in low.
barrier.
Brad hit
went
the
in a
barrier?
lot harder.
Brad hit the safer barrier. He didn't hit the tire barrier. They overshot it. Like Chase Elliott, when
lot-
he
a lot
overshot it,
worse.
he just hit
He
it
overshot it
like head
straight.
on.
Yeah.
But Brad Keselowski and Kyle Larson hit it at a poor angle, and also
Those guys
they,
broke a lot
they
later.
turned
Yeah.
in, but Chase just went
Yeah.
straight for the tire barrier, which was smart.
It definitely gave Larson a bad time last year.
It gave half the field a bad time last year.
Yeah,
It still gave half the
still
field
gave
a
Chase
bad time
Elliott. It
this
still
year.
gave the race winner the bad time.
Something else impressive about the weekend was Alex Bowman coming back and finishing second. That's pretty awesome. I'm happy.
Did he actually finished second?
Yep.
Finished second, yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't.
He crashed 3 times and finished
Yeah, I
second.
didn't notice the
Personally-
finishing order.
Yeah.
Personally,
Because-
I think at least 2 of the cars ahead of him kind of just let him go by because they didn't want that fight, because especially
people like
Clint
Clint-
Boyer.
Clint Boyer.
wasn't
Yeah.
Yeah,
gonna
Clint Boyer,
fight that.
yeah.
He just needed a good finish.
Mhm.
And then, I don't know, I feel like some guys didn't race him like 100%
Mhm.
at that point. So I don't know.
Clint-
I mean, he got
Well,
second.
I
I
agree
think
with
they all kind of knew like it. I think that's the way playoff racing
Yeah,
kind of
that's
works,
playoff racing. But
especially at the Roval, because some of these drivers, like if Harvick or Truex, are like the Spires are probably telling him like, "Hey, Bowman's coming like a bat out of hell, so
Yeah.
he's either
And he-
gonna
and he
pass
wrecked
you or
Bubba.
he's gonna take
Yeah.
you with him."
yeah, I think
Yeah.
people just moved out of his way, which
I forgot.
That
not a
Neil
bad
has
thing,
fresh
but-
tires, so
I forgot
Deep
Clint Boyer's
Booger.
crew chief's name. I don't know if he's
like
the.
Bugger Rabbit.
Yeah, he's the Bugger Rabbit one.
Bugger
Okay.
Ravage.
But yeah, thanks to Chase Elliott for the meme content that'll be used probably for the next few
Yeah,
months.
that was it. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Because to be honest, I've already seen memes like that
Mhm.
that aren't even related to
Controller
racing.
disconnected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just like when someone goes in a different direction than everyone else.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes, now we're seeing that meme being used with something that isn't a racing meme getting used by people who don't even watch racing.
Yeah, it's just like
So,
in the mainstream as a meme.
Yeah,
He's got
it
the,
almost felt.
hands
it
up
al-
one,
next meme.
Oh my
they
god,
said-
let's get PewDiePie to review the Chase Elliott heartburn corner meme.
Next meme.
It's weird. Like it almost felt like a racing drama movie, like where like the main protagonist like falls down to the end of the pack and somehow like has the courage to come
was
up
cars.
all the way through the field and win at the end. And like in the movies, they're able to go to the pits and like talk to the supporting person of the main protagonist, like, "Come on, go back out there and win this thing." And they're actually losing all this track position in the process. Like this is not real.
They're
like, racing
outside of
fans
the
know
car.
this is not realistic at. Yeah, they're out of the car or something. Like this is not realistic at all.
I'll give
That
you
one
fresh
guy from
tires. You go get 'em.
Talladega Nights got food.
Yeah, like
Like,
they're really taking their time with the pit stop.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like, aren't you guys about to go a lap down?
Or 5.
This
I
is
think it
about
happened in
one
like
lap down.
Herbie fully loaded with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
it sounds like,
Like California.
Yeah.
But anyway, the other big story from the Charlotte Roval was Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace being a huge emotional dude by nature. That's just how he very passionate in everything, every endeavor he goes through, and we still don't really know what transpired before.
I think I kind of like I
Yeah.
watched the race again, and on the first lap when Alex
Yeah,
Bowman
it was,
spun out, he ended up clipping Bubba Wallace. So that's
And
probably
somehow
what.
Bubba thought that was
Yeah, Bubba
intentional,
probably
the
whole-
got over.
flipping him off the whole time.
I don't know
Yeah.
if he overreacted to it and just like kept flipping Alex off. I don't know if this has just been a beef that's been between them for the whole year.
I don't know.
But
What I did hear was that Bubba flips off a lot of people, and that's mostly just for fun.
That's what it sounds
would-
like. And like
Yeah,
with all the bad luck that Bubba's been having at the Roval in just a short time, I think anything would be enough to set him off, even if it's little.
Yeah.
So Bubba flips, gives him the magical finger.
gives
to
him
a-
the bird.
How can you
The-
even know that that's the finger that's out the window? Because
Yeah, maybe it's
their
just like
hands don't come all
good
the way out,
job,
right?
or hey,
Mine
Yeah,
had
you
one.
know.
don't forget to be fancy 2 or 3 times. And should that be the title of this episode? Don't forget to be fancy. Or
Yeah.
I don't know. No.
Revenge of the Bump was pretty good.
Yeah, on the
Revenge of
first
bump.
I just watched the replay on the first lap. Bowman locked his tires up going into
Yeah.
the chicane,
Hit
and it
Bubba.
actually forced Bubba to miss the chicanes. He had to.
Who was
take a
in
penalty
front
for
of
that.
Bowman when he locked up his brakes?
I
whole pack.
don't remember. He was
Bowman
he had to start the rear of the
late.
field because he was in a backup car.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, he was already in a backup car.
I thought it looked like Austin Dillon was right in front of him, which
It might have been.
at first made me kind of suspicious, like why he locked up his brakes. But I might
Yeah,
just be
but from
making
what
up
it sounded
something
like that
out
he
of
just
nothing here.
He just went into the corner too fast.
Yeah. When I first watched the race, I was like, "Oh, Austin Dillon brake checked him," but
That might have been it.
yeah, I don't know
Because
if
that
that
might have
happened
been
or
the only
not.
time. That might have been the only time that Austin Dillon would have seen Alex Bowman
Yeah,
during that
yeah.
race.
Did we even talk about Alex Bowman and Austin Dillon last week
I think we did.
about the Richmond incident? I don't remember talking about it too much. The whole silver spoon thing.
Yeah.
But Alex had just been coming off of that weekend, and then he comes into this. And he's like, "Oh, really? Another one?" And so,
He's not
Alex
making
was
many
fighting.
friends from that ECR camp.
yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I noticed they were both in the ECR camp." He's like, "Enough is enough. I'm not gonna be treated that way," and gives him the little turny turn.
Turn.
I felt
And,
like what Bubba did afterwards was low, but I didn't hate it.
So the
Yeah.
reason people aren't liking this is because the medical staff was in the middle of like treating
Examining
him or whatever. Yeah, and Jeff Gordon was also like kneeling down there, being with his driver, because Jeff Gordon is going to be like the future face of Hendrick, so he's always around them anyway.
Yeah. It was just bad
But-
timing.
Yeah, they said on the Dale Jr. download that might be something that Bubba like next week will come to like regret, like once he's cooled off and stuff. Like he may still be like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that I didn't know it was in those conditions. Because I think that's
mean,
not. I
To
think
be honest, from hearing what Bubba was wanting to do, if the medical staff wasn't there, he was gonna
Yeah.
punch. He was gonna punch him in the face straight up and
Exactly.
just wham on him.
Exactly.
So
I don't think that's
expect an apology. I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Alex won't apologize either. So
It was
I-
low, but I mean, it was just the bad timing that made it look bad.
I think it's over, and
Yeah.
they'll just move on from it. That, or we're gonna have Bubba Wallace is gonna be headhunting during the round of 12.
yeah, I bet he will. I bet Bubba will be the one to knock Alex out of the round of 12.
Yeah,
Or
Alex
out of 8.
isn't doing himself any favors if he's going into Martinsville and thinking that
Yeah.
Austin
Yeah,
Dillon
so
or
going into
Bubba Wallace
Dover-
aren't gonna
Going
run
into
over him.
Going into Dover, Alex has Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace to look out for because they are both potentially lap down cars.
Yep.
That he will be dealing with.
Both
And-
easily lap down cars.
What?
What? Both easily
are.
lap down cars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely haven't won a late model race anytime recently.
Yeah, Dover and
Recently.
Martinsville aren't tracks where you can avoid people. Like he said before the Roval, he said he
Yep.
won't be seeing Austin Dillon very much.
I anticipate some drama.
I
This
anticipate
this
that they
storyline
will
is
be seeing each other again.
The plot.
this storyline is definitely not over. The plot thickens, absolutely. So the playoff leaderboard entering Dover, Kyle Busch, 3,046 points in the lead. Martin Truex Jr. in second. Denny Hamlin third. Joey Logano fourth. Fifth belongs to Kevin Harvick. Sixth, Brad Keselowski won this race. Seventh, Chase Elliott. Eighth, Kyle Larson. Ninth, Alex Bowman. 10th, Ryan Blaney. 11th, the five-time pole winner, William Byron, this season. And in that last spot with only 3,000 points is Clint Boyer barely hanging on. So
From
we
what I
got
saw
Dover.
From what I saw with the points, it looks like the bottom 5 are going to be fighting for the last spot, but that's only in case the top 9 don't wreck out. And it's Talladega coming up, so I don't know if that's going to be true or not.
I anticipate a huge falling of points from Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch is going to lose the points lead.
I thought he
he's
already
at.
had. I thought
he's
he already
had- No, he hasn't yet.
Okay.
Entering Dover, he's still in the lead, but only by 5 points away from Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, he's been off his game.
Yeah.
He's been
Well,
really
yeah,
off his
that's
game.
one
It's been
then.
an entire season of really off Kyle Busch. He's still he's still dominant
I wouldn't say a
against the
whole
field,
season.
I mean,
yeah,
Red Bull had
there's
a
been
really
telltale
strong start
signs.
to the
I think there's been
season.
telltale signs since the beginning of the season.
Really?
That he's a little different.
Once he
He's
got
had
his
a really
200
strong start to the
200 pity
season.
one,
It's just that as
Yeah.
soon as everyone caught up on the package, Kyle Busch had
Yeah.
kind of an advantage with the Penske cars. Because at the beginning of the year, like Busch, Penske, and Truex were the only people that were winning races until we got
think-
to Charlotte. Actually, no, until we got past Charlotte.
I think he spent so much time hating on this new Aero package that by the time everybody else learned it, he was already behind the curve, like you said.
I think he got an early
yeah.
jump, but then didn't
Do
keep
anything with it.
improving.
Yeah, I think he plateaued,
And
and he's
other
just
news
kind of
with the Roval.
he's hanging on with his previous season success, with his early season success right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a turn at Indianapolis. I thought that Kyle Busch just wasn't himself.
And I don't feel like Kyle Busch from last year would even be the kind of guy to just get out of the car during a red flag at the Charlotte Roval.
Well, he had
He's-
damage.
he's
that
always
they
been
were
the
planning on
exact same
coming in.
person. And anyone
Really,
who
you
says
think he would have
differently
done
is
that 2 years ago?
Anyone who says differently that he's changed, I just always just tune them out. I don't listen to them after I hear this stuff.
race fan.
He was 3 laps down in the red flag, and it was 116 degrees in these cars.
They said that on the broadcast he was leaving because he didn't want to be in the hot car, but afterwards he tweeted or something, and he said that they had damage and they were already planning on bringing it to the garage before the red flag, and then the red flag
Okay,
came
that
out,
makes
and
me
then they
feel
went
better.
In. So it wasn't what Dale Jr. said or whoever said it on the
All right.
broadcast.
So Dale's just speculating.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
He's in a hot car. He wanted to get out.
I wouldn't sit if you're 3 laps down. I mean, it makes sense either way. So
I
I
mean,
don't
the
blame
air,
him.
the air ain't circulating in there. I mean, it's hot.
Did you hear Bowman say that the water didn't quite get to him? That when they were bringing
Yeah.
the officials were
They
bringing
brought
water
the,
out.
back people. Yeah.
Yeah, they got
That's
two
pretty
two cars
great.
away from him.
It just looked really bad.
Mm-hmm.
that whole scene, because Alex just looked drained,
I thought
Just
he
yeah.
was like in heat stroke or
red
something.
face, he's dehydrated, he's about to pass out.
When they were showing an in car and you could see his eyes, he had the visor up.
He
I was
did
like,
not
is
look
he
like himself.
crying?
Yeah,
I said that to my dad and my
like-
girlfriend who were watching with me, and they were like, that'd be kind of weird. And then he got out, and I was like, oh, he's just red.
Bowman is a pale dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is a pale.
He was he looked like he had a farmer's tan.
Yeah, red does not look good on him.
Yeah. Let's move on. As I'm being told through a different source this time. So The future tracks in this playoff picture are Dover, Talladega, and Kansas. So as I asked in the last round, who are the ones that we're sending the red flags to here over these next 3 tracks? These next 3 tracks really appeal to Alex Bowman, as has been pointed out. He got his win at Chicagoland earlier, and his first career win. As a Ryan Blaney supporter, I kind of fear for his chances of moving on. Just having too many mistakes, not really showing front running qualities.
I got some good news for Blaney.
What's that?
He's running the PDG paint scheme this weekend.
Oh, that's always
Yeah.
good. It's always a good sign.
It's a good
I
That's
sign.
all
mean,
makes
one-
me happy.
I love me
The
some
one thing
PPG.
about the round of 12 that kind of isn't good is that it's, and I mean, this is even going to get worse next year. The rounds are very unpredictable, mostly because of the second race in the round.
I personally like that idea.
Talladega and the Dale Senior card coming up with Richard
Oh
Childress
yeah, I
in
forgot about that.
2000.
Yeah. Well, next year the drivers are going to be thrown even through a bigger loop because next year the round of 12 is supposed to include I think it's supposed to include Kansas, Talladega, and the
Roval.
Roval.
Oh,
But yes, Talladega is the second race, and
I forgot about that. This is Dover's
yeah,
last playoff race.
Dover is going to be a very critical
Yeah.
race because all the drivers who think that they can points their way in really need to have a top 5. So if you're Kyle Busch, Truex, Hamlin, Logano, Hamlin, or
Yeah,
maybe
just
even Chase
survive.
Elliott, the goal is to come out with a top 5. So then you can go to Talladega
Yeah.
and if you're at Talladega, it's like get through the first 2 stages with stage points, and maybe you can.
maybe
point
you'll
your way
finish.
in.
Do you guys want to do the picks now?
I didn't think about that, but yeah, it's playoff racing. It's exciting. Let's
Sorry, offers.
try to make the picks here. I'm gonna go with William Byron getting another pole just because consistency. I think that might happen. You guys don't have to make pole picks. Maybe Martin Truex Jr. Just gonna pull another win, secure himself again.
I'm gonna say Harvick in his Harvick scheme.
It
He's
was
gonna pull off the win.
Harvick scheme.
Harvick beer.
Yep. Ryan.
Chase Elliott's been really good in the fall race at Dover.
Yep. And he does have that breast cancer Hooters car on the track
So I
this
would
weekend.
Ooh,
with the win
free
with the
Friday
win
pick.
at Charlotte, having some momentum, he might be a threat to win another race. Hendrick cars are going to be really good this weekend. I feel
All
like.
right. West Noodles.
Phew. I need to look, man. I need a list of drivers. I can't find
Also,
one.
wouldn't be surprised
Well-
to see Jimmy Johnson have a really good run this weekend.
I was about to
Cool.
say,
Hendrick
Yeah.
cars
I'm
are
gonna
running
make
well.
Donald's
Playoff driver
pick
doesn't-
for him.
or
Jimmy
non-playoff
Johnson.
driver.
Donald's pick would be Jimmy Johnson. Gonna pull a sneak win away from the playoff drivers.
Yeah,
I'd be satisfied with that.
he was doing really good at the Roval. I know we're not talking about the Roval anymore, but he was doing good for a long while.
Yeah.
You said Hendrick's gonna do good, so maybe Bowman, top 5 at least, maybe.
Bowman
but
ran
we're-
runner up at the spring race. So.
As long as he doesn't get the boot, man, the bumps. As long as it stays clean for him, I think he'll.
You
He'll
say
do all
as long as he doesn't get bumped.
Yeah, as long as he stays away from Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace.
All right. That sounds good. Okay. Right. Moving on.
Yay.
Next topic. Aeroscreen. 2020 IndyCar. NTT.
I'm okay with it.
Red Bull Technologies have brought the Aeroscreen, and we've got some Footage to look at, courtesy of David Land. He showed up to the infield mounds there at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and got some good footage of the two cars that were there for the test yesterday in action. One was from Team Penske with Will Power in the cockpit, and the other one from Scott Dixon of Chip Ganassi. And they had about a 27-minute long press conference afterwards, talking about it with a representative from IndyCar and also Red Bull Technologies. So what's your guys' initial thoughts before I say anything?
Well, they really completed the goal of their test. Because from everything I've heard, the test is really on just getting feedback from the drivers about cooling inside the cockpit. So most of the test was about cooling inside the cockpit and making aesthetic changes. So technically, the aero screen that we're seeing right now isn't going to be the aero screen we're going to see when it debuts. Mostly because I believe the aero screen they're using for the tests is bolted on. But the aero screen that's going to be used next year is going to be built into will be like part of the chassis.
Right.
So this is like a quick fix just to test the aero.
Yeah, this is just to test the aero. The good thing is from the drivers is they've said that it hasn't made too much of a difference in terms of drivability. Will Power actually said in his press conference it makes the car a little bit more forgiving actually, since there's more weight towards the front. So it's kind of actually equaled out the weight of the car. So that's a good thing. So, I mean, the only thing we could probably see next year for Indianapolis for the 500 is there's probably going to be a little bit more drag. There's definitely going to be a little bit more drag because the cars will be a little bit slower in the weight.
Yeah.
But also it could add a little bit more downforce. So if we see 2012 to 2014 style Indy 500 next year, I wouldn't be too terribly surprised.
Okay. I wonder what that's going to look like with the road configuration wing.
I think it'll look better with the road wings.
Yeah, because the oval's very skinny.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
small. And I think from an aesthetic point of view, in comparison, the road wing will kind of be more of a better
boxy.
balance. Yeah.
Well, we will find out on Monday because Monday the series will be taking 3 cars, I believe. I think they'll be adding an Andretti car at the Barber test. So they will have 2 or 3 cars out at Barber on Monday, I believe, for their road course test, and then a week after that they'll be at Richmond Raceway.
Oh boy!
For the first time the cars will be on track there.
I'm glad we still have things to talk about in IndyCar, even right after the championship ended. I should make a drive down to Birmingham and go see the test, but I probably don't have time.
Cool.
Yeah, good thing about IndyCar is that they are always working in the off season. It does not matter. The only time they're really not working is like the same time that NASCAR's on their off season.
What did you guys think about the IndyCar on the Roval?
Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot about
yeah.
that. Yeah, that
Joseph
was
Newgarden.
That's cool.
Yeah, Joey Newkid took a few test laps for Shell.
For Shell Pennzoil.
For Shell Pennzoil.
For their
on the
marketing promotion.
For a marketing promotion.
Yeah. We all know
pretty much the first unofficial Roval test.
We all know this was Marcus Smith talking to IndyCar and saying, "Hey, bring a car down here, test it. Yeah, find a reason to test it so we can see if we can do one of these double headers we're talking about."
Yeah, I think really the only way that this is like IndyCar on the Roval would work for the near future, and if they want to do a double header, I think, and like I know some other YouTubers have brought this up, but I think
All-Star
Race is probably the best way to go.
Because as the calendar falls right now, the end of their season falls right next to the Roval date. at the moment.
And Mark
on the
Miles
now.
has made it pretty clear that he does not want to go into NFL season and compete directly with them.
Yeah.
So I think doing like a Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning all-star race with NASCAR, just like bring out the race winners from the year. The race winners and pole winners, kind of make it like a Marlboro challenge from back in the day.
I don't know who recommended that they do it under the lights. Like update the infield portions of the road course.
I mean, they just have to add LED poles. That's it.
Yeah, and run the IndyCar all-star race at night.
Yeah.
At night.
And then like have the NASCAR Roval race the next day.
At night.
At night.
At night. Yeah, that looked nice.
Yeah.
Joseph seemed to like it. I don't know if he was given a worm in his head saying, "Hey, you got to say that it was fun and you would like a doubleheader here," or he genuinely thought that.
I mean, to be honest, from looking on the onboard, it looks like it's like the thing about the Roval is that the whole infield section is pretty much like if there was any NASCAR equivalent to a street course, it would be the infield section of the Roval.
Yeah, it's got a lot of those really slow.
Walls.
Yeah.
Because pretty
corners.
much the Roval is just a street course with an oval built into it.
Because
Well,
those
the street course
infield
built into an
roads,
oval.
those infield roads were, I guess, originally made just to be the infield roads, infield streets to get RVs around and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't find out until watching the Dale Jr. download the Camel GT series. Was one of the first things to actually have an event on the Roval section of the course. I know
in like the late 80s or something like that,
Mhm.
IMSA used to race on the Roval. And actually, I think the American Le Mans series back in the early 2000s used to race on the Roval. And they had a backstretch chicane, and it was really something.
See, like
I don't think it needs to be a doubleheader weekend, but I still want to see IndyCar try to go to the Roval and race there. It doesn't have to be in the same weekend as NASCAR, in my opinion.
I think it does. Otherwise, it'll take away from the NASCAR race. And we want the two fan bases to merge. And
yeah,
if
that's
it wasn't
the
a
whole
doubleheader,
point.
It wouldn't do that.
We're trying to make these two in opposite ends that have in history's past butted heads with each other over different things of who's better, who's more of a racing sport, who's more elite, and just cast all that aside and come together for a weekend.
Yeah, I think that's the important part. So,
if we're done with that, I guess we can move on to a little bit of talk of Formula One. So, funny story about Formula One is about a day or so after our last episode, I downloaded F1 2018 because it was on sale on Steam, and it did not off and on. It's like 26 gigabytes, and it did not finish downloading until yesterday.
Dang.
That's my internet.
Dang.
So finally got to play around on it a little bit yesterday. And I got that so I could be more familiarized with Formula One, like learning all the tracks and how to drive them and stuff. And
what tracks have you driven so far?
I just did Sochi and Australia.
That wasn't a good pick. Why would you do that?
Well, I just did what they did last week. Yeah, I did Sochi, Australia, and
out of all the tracks.
Where did they run in Australia? Is that Panorama?
Melbourne.
No,
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Okay.
Yeah, they run a like street circuit pretty much.
Okay.
Because it's in a park in Melbourne, and that they just convert the racetrack over.
It's kind of stale.
Yeah.
I like the Panorama circuit.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
One thing with Formula One is
but...
that most of their tracks are the Tilkodromes, and they're really boring.
Mm-hmm. I just watched a YouTube video on that yesterday.
Reference Sochi.
Oh, I also did Canada because I was actually familiar with that track layout.
Yeah, that's a good track.
I'm actually familiar with that track layout, but I still suck.
Where is
It's
that
hard.
track? Saying a
Montreal.
country just
Montreal.
doesn't help.
It's
Montreal.
Montreal, yeah.
Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah, Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
I don't like that. Don't say that anymore, please. Makes me
Yeah.
uncomfy.
But out of like the Tilgodromes, Coda was probably the best one.
Coda's a
I think
great
it was-
track. I love.
I think it
Coda.
was the last one that was built, and it's also probably the best Tilga track that's been built. But yeah, I believe they are either in an off weekend or
Yeah, it's an off
weekend.
weekend before
the
Japan.
Japanese Grand Prix, which will be at Suzuka, which is always, to be honest, Suzuka is not really a track where you're going to see a ton of passing in these
Except for
cars.
the first turn.
But Suzuka is a really cool. I think it's a really cool track to watch just how the cars work with the aero
Yeah.
in terms of like a downforce track. You just get to see how downforce really works, especially going through those S's at the beginning. Suzuka is just a really cool place to watch the cars on the limit. But yeah, Sochi was kind of
Yeah.
Mercedes
Yeah.
won
Yeah.
because of the safety car.
We said the only highlight from Sochi, I guess, is
Vettel.
the Sebastian Vettel. I keep saying Vettel, but it's Vettel.
Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel. He just he locked up his brakes, I guess. Was that what it was?
No, he
No, his engine blew.
He just
No.
blew the engine. He's like, we need to go back to the V12s,
Yep.
basically on the radio, in a
Yeah.
nicer form.
Yeah.
And I do miss the old footage of Formula One, just hearing, meow, just that really high pitched scream.
I was lucky enough to hear one of those cars, and I didn't think I would, but they tested at Homestead one time, and it was really cool to hear him.
Like you don't remember that you miss it until you hear it again. Like,
Yeah.
yep, that's what Formula One sounds like.
Yeah.
My favorite car in Assetto Corsa is the Formula One car from 2004, the Ferrari.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Best car. Yeah.
Do you
Those
have
are-
a set
those
of
are
Corsa
so-
on Steam?
Huh?
Do you have it on PC?
Yes.
I've thought about
It-
getting it on PC.
It's so fun to drive. Like, you'll be driving that Formula One 2004 everywhere.
I can attest to that from the Xbox One version.
It's like it's the ultimate downforced car. Like, it's just
It's not really. It doesn't really have a ton of downforce. It's more, well, it has downforce, but it's more on top speed.
it teaches you how to like throw yourself into a corner and just trusting that the car is going to stick to the
Sticky?
road.
And it's
Yeah.
Really, the only other F1 news is McLaren's going back to Mercedes, which, to be honest, with hearing that they are doing Chevrolet for Aero McLaren SP, it's not too surprising that they wanted to switch from Renault. And considering Renault's been really having a rough time this year, I don't know if it's just Renault wants to focus on their team and wasn't really going to give McLaren the best parts, or McLaren just wants to go back to Mercedes.
McLaren wants to be good again. They want to be in the top 4 teams.
Yeah, and if I was any of the other teams, I would kind of be a little bit worried once McLaren gets Mercedes engines. But that also will be in 2021 when we get the new regulations. So they
It's a
might
long time
be
from
behind
now.
the 8 ball. They might be ahead of the 8 ball. It kind of depends on how things turn out.
Ryan, at one point, do you think Mercedes will not be the best team in F1?
Yeah, when's this pendulum going to shift finally?
I
How long?
Yeah,
Well, first,
I
my
think-
first question is, how long has this pendulum been shifted towards Mercedes?
2014.
That's when
It's
it started.
been-
Because
it's
I'm
been
completely new to
shifted
this. I'm
since
completely new to this. I'm just.
It's been
Yeah, they
way
came
too
out
long.
with the new
It's-
engine
it's horrible.
regulations, which included switching it to a turbocharged V6 hybrid engine.
And that
in
gave Mercedes the
2014.
advantage.
And Mercedes really took a gamble on it, and it
Mhm.
paid off for them. And they've been, like, you can
Dominant.
see as soon
Dominant.
as the V6 hybrid era came in, Mercedes
Yeah.
wins skyrocketed, and they just haven't
And
lost.
F1's ratings.
They haven't lost a championship since the Aero switch. Actually, to be honest, I don't think F1's ratings have really, if anything, they've gone up in the last few
They
years.
have gone up, but the racing has not been better.
Oh no, the racing quality, but that doesn't change. That doesn't change anything. Like it's just kind of how the cars have been.
I mean, the restarts are good. The starts
Yeah,
are good.
but-
The stars, not the restarts. The starts.
Not the restarts. Sorry, the lights out.
You would think the restarts would be okay. They're not. They're not even good.
They're not?
They're pretty awful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of those safety cars.
And
Aren't...
I've learned since last week. I've learned more about the nature of the safety car, and
Yeah.
how like a virtual
DFA,
and a virtual
yeah.
a virtual safety car.
Yeah,
See,
they implemented the
stupid-
virtual safety car after the incident with Jules Bianchi at
Yeah.
Japan.
Hang on, what's the virtual safety car?
Virtual
I-
safety car just basically tells the drivers on their dash they have to keep a certain delta.
Speed.
So they have to
Isn't
keep a
it-
certain speed throughout the
isn't it-
entire lap.
An
So they don't
imaginary
actually put
caution
the
car.
pace car on the track.
No, it's
No,
it's
they just tell
imaginary.
all the drivers to keep a certain pace, and
Huh.
like it's personalized to the driver, so they'll tell
And
them
like no
hey,
overtaking, right?
yeah,
during
no,
a virtual safety car. Yeah.
Because everyone has to be at the same speed, so you can't even overtake if you wanted to.
But the
You
thing is
could
with
on
the
a corner.
virtual safety car is that like the pits are still open, so
Yeah.
if you get in the right window when the VSC comes out, you can pretty much get a free pit stop.
It's really interesting. Like
It's
on
the
the
same
on
thing when
s-
the regular safety car is out. Like they never close the pit lane, which is really interesting. So you get a free pit stop if you
Mhm.
play the strategy right. Which I'm surprised F1, not in F1, IndyCar outside of the oval hasn't done. Like I know why they close the pits for the ovals, but like
Yeah.
the road courses, I don't know why they don't just keep the pits open.
Yeah.
Unless there's a car directly blocking the pit entrance.
because it takes long enough anyway to get around the track, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, do we have anything else to talk about?
This weekend
might be a short
the
episode.
Le Mans.
Yeah, I've been hyping that up the past couple of weeks.
Oh, the Corvette.
Corvette.
Oh yeah, the
Love
new
Corvette.
the new
Corvette, it looks
mid-engine
nice.
Corvette C8 has
Check it out.
been revealed for IMSA.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
It's pretty nice.
And a reminder that this will be the last year for the 4GT in IMSA.
Teardrops.
Well, this will be the last
For
race.
manufacturers, right?
Yeah, this will be the last manufactured 4GT race. They should come back next year as a privateer
Mhm.
team, but they will not have factory support for next year.
Oh.
But yeah, this will be also the debut. Not the debut, but this will be the final race of the Corvette C7R, I believe.
Okay.
Mhm.
If you say so. No one was saying anything. I had to say something.
Yeah, it'll
I
be the
say
last
so.
Corvette
C7R race.
I hate the names of the Corvettes.
Yeah, they're getting ready to debut the C8.R race
Right.
car.
C8.R.
C8.R.
God, that's
The
stupid name.
mid-engine Corvette, and also they didn't even paint it yellow. It's like gray and yellow for the livery for next year.
Did we even talk about Stenhouse?
Oh yeah.
No, we did not.
Stenhouse is out. Busher's in.
Extra news. Ricky Stenhouse out of
To
Roush
nobody's surprise.
because the Cat in the Hat knows a lot about contracts and putting the little writing in the fine print, and actually
Well, I knew,
snagged Chris Busher from the very beginning. Said, "Whenever we want you back, we can."
Yeah.
We're
'cause I knew about that when Busher went to JTG. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's still signed to.
Rash, yeah.
Well, I think this is when he went to Front Row. He still had a option in his contract to go back to Roush whenever he wanted, or whenever Roush wanted him. To
When
go
they
back.
wanted, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
It's a really good move.
I think, to be honest, with how well Newman's been performing this year and how well Busher's been performing this year, I
Yeah,
think Roush is in a good spot for next year to have
yeah,
both
decent year.
drivers possibly in the playoffs, and like they might actually have a chance to run for, I wouldn't say a championship, but maybe like a
Top 8.
like a round of 8, maybe get a car into the round of 8 next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Newman
surprised if they get a car into the round of 12 next year, though.
Newman put a whale of a show on at the
Yeah.
Roval, even with not making it.
He
He
tried
put
it.
he put every ounce of
Yeah.
energy he had into that car and just missed that last chicane and had to give up the time.
And
That's
I
what-
mean,
that's what
I felt
cost
like he
him.
was carrying the team a lot.
Yeah.
you can still see it. Roush is still really behind on the mile and a halves. And the high down, like the tracks where downforce really matters. You can see they're still behind because Newman had really good runs at tracks where downforce doesn't matter as much.
Still a lot of work to do, but really
My
glad
question
that
is, who's going to
Chris
get
Buescher is
the
going.
37 car
Um,
between Hemrick and Stenhouse? It looks like.
yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it would go to Hemrick over Stenhouse because
Yeah,
Yeah.
so do I.
Stenhouse doesn't
Hemrick's
get
I
that.
thought-
younger and he's still I think that's an ECR engine.
I thought
Yep.
Hemrick
Like-
was already. I thought it was already. Daniel Hemrick was already with someone now.
He was
He
with
is with
RCR,
one
but he got
now,
cut
but he's done with them.
because they
No, like,
officially
he
announced
just-
it yesterday that
Didn't he just have news?
no, that was
Oh,
Tyler
Re-
Reddick.
Oh,
Reddick,
right. That's
yeah.
Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick. Stenhouse, I think, is going to go to front row if anywhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
And Christopher Bell was confirmed to the 95, and then we got Tyler Reddick confirmed now moving to Cup, but where is the question? RCR 31, I don't know.
Oh,
No,
yesterday.
it's
Eight,
for
eight,
number
eight.
8.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
announced
Obviously,
yesterday.
eight.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm-
got
I'm-
confused with the Daniel Hemrick car. I got the two switched
Sorry.
around.
Not thinking straight. Still early.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Also,
Tyler-
has anyone
At least
noticed
you're
like with the 8 for the RCR? I mean, I know they can't use the 8 for the Dale Jr. font
Yep.
because
Tear
of
cuffs.
Teresa, but like if you like blur your eyes a little bit, it just looks like the Dale Jr. 8.
If you just smooth out those edges a little bit,
Well,
and
if
like
you-
make
I
it a little
mean,
more.
If you don't
Cover
have
your
20/20
eyes and
vision,
imagine.
it looks like Dale Jr.'s 8.
An 8's an
Make
8.
it-
8's an 8.
He can lean a little bit more. Speaking of 8, Dale Jr.'s new documentary on the Dirty Mo Media
That was
channel.
good. I
I haven't seen it yet. But
Oh, I saw it.
came out a little bit ago about his weekend at Darlington. They did the same kind of thing last year
Yeah.
with Richmond.
I hope he keeps
Uh,
doing those one-off races.
I think
Next
he
week-
will.
Next year's
As long
Homestead.
as long as Hellman's mayonnaise is still by his side, I think he still will.
Speaking
He
of
might have-
8, I have class at 8.
All right,
All right,
so
So we
we've
gotta wrap
said
this
everything
puppy
we need to
up.
say. So
Yeah.
we'll wrap the puppy up.
Wrap
Looking
the puppy
forward-
up and
20 minutes
give
left.
it to
Looking
Santa
forward
Claus.
to Petite Le Mans. Looking forward to Dover. And
IndyCar test on Monday.
these IndyCar
Yeah.
tests that are continuing. So another great discussion. Glad you guys could join us. If you made it to the end, you are another champion again. Please hit that like button and subscribe to William Crossland so you can see us next week when we talk about the craziness that we hope will happen at Dover. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. So this is Get Bumped Podcast, Revenge of the Bump, or
Revenge
whatever
of the
it
Bump.
shall be. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Do you cut out this end piece, or is there just like an awkward goodbye?
I do
and
not.
Then there's like me trying to stop it.